Good afternoon, social media. It's Wednesday, July 1st, 12:19 p.m. I'm Charles Damin Vong for DaoIsTheWay. I had a great sleep after the meditation on anxiety and depression in the middle of the night. And this morning, I'd wake up and it felt refreshing, so I thought I should clean up as well. And then I spent the last hour and a half, the last just listening to the uh, the um, last night, my middle of the night, sober, no drug, dealing with can't find anything to doom scroll, so I might as well be with myself, you know. So let's continue now. I actually feel very good right now. You can say it's mania, good sleep, whatever you want to release stress. When you go to when you spend time with somebody who listen to you, who can actually, like when you bring a problem to someone and you don't know what it is, and they able to answer your question and help you with it, and afterward, you feel like you've been heard, taken care of, and that feeling, right? Well, you can do that yourself if just record your. So what you can do is, I think what happened is that this talking therapy is that usually the issue comes into is you blab. I know with David Grill, what I find was that the problem was that I is I enjoy is I'm trying to connect to myself. I just kind of like do stream of consciousness, talking and associating, and then finally I feel like we sync together, and then when I finally ready to talk about the actual issue, time is up. So then I thought that with David Grohl, say, how about we do it so that instead of once a week kind of thing and see you, why don't we go 2 weeks, and then I'll just have two sessions together. That way I can just blab out, and then afterward, we can examine what this issue was having. It's not like I haven't been in therapy before. No, I have the best kind. I had Tom went to therapy, and then we have a great discussion about my issue. So what I would like to the problem with the healthcare industry and mental health is that they're overwhelming by the doctors, the nurses, everyone is overwhelming because the insurance industry owns pretty much all the hospital and everything else. So look, the insurance is a illusion. That is something that obviously is the uh, insurance has always been is based on modeling, statistic, and probability, and it becomes very sophisticated. And actually, if you study social science, you have any analytical, statistical study, you can easily get a job as an analyst if you want to. But I guess what I'm trying to say was that I felt very actually I was enraged on how the insurance industry just screw you over after 22 years of paying for the best health care when you don't need it at all, when you're young and all, right? And then when you finally hit middle age, they say, no more. It's like, what the fuck? No, no, no. The whole structure of institution that the boomer grow up in, and the luxury they have provided by the silent generation and all. And they feel like, I'm going to have it all and I'm going to take it with me in my death. And screw you all. Because, we were the best, right? Well, nature goes on. Sorry, but you're just so I'm not. I mean, I'm feeling kind of like, oh, that feels nice. I like that. I like what I talked last night for an hour and 39 minutes. It seemed to flow naturally, and it came spontaneously, and you can easily follow it. So. And it was just a stream of consciousness. I was shocked how long. I mean, I was shocked to look at the clock at my when I suddenly became aware of time, and I checked on like, oh shit, it's past an hour and a half, which was quite surprising to me because it didn't feel that long, and all. So I already had my coffee, watching the video, and also I might be a little bit speedy in my thought and what I speak out compared to last night when I'm thinking, wow, that's slow. That is slow. So I would like to say that the marijuana is not the high. If you take too much marijuana, you get anxious anyway. So the issue here is not marijuana. The issue was that what marijuana allowed me to was to connect to, not react to my thought and triggers and all, and instead I can play with it, and that was the fun part because what it does is it reduces the fight-flight response. Good luck trying to fight somebody when you're high. Try it. So the issue is how we've been primed. I was lucky to have find the right people in my when I was young. Even though it was even though it was painful to try to assimilate to American culture after being a Vietnamese refugee, capped by my mother, locked up, and work. Luckily, working in El Camino College gave me all the freedom and the library privileges I need, which is all I wanted anyway. But and then having to learn how to be single, independent person, successful at it, and try to be successful at it, was a difficult process altogether. There was lots of blood, tear, and all. I can tell you that, pain and misery. But I had a determination typical of, someone who wants to prove to themselves to the world, especially to the person who created them, that fuck you, I can make my own kind of thing. Who needs what family wealth is there left, mother? What are you hiding from me? That I'm not allowed to, what exactly is the family inheritance, being the only boy in this family, mother? Will I inherit from you? May I ask that I should be worried or ashamed of, or or be grateful for? Please. So yes. So my point was that and of course, therefore, I have to support myself, and we all were. So that was the difficult part. The being in the university, being seen because social science and all, they're quite aware of what a Vietnamese refugee is, and they were expecting us to go to college anyway. That whole thing kind of thing, and suddenly, the college wasn't cheap anymore. Like the 80s, right, when college was cheaper. for the boomer. So, there's a little bit of exploitation there in America of the immigrant and the illegal immigrants, as if that's never been the case in every single, history of human civilization and all. So we're not going, so the issue here is one of, my mother already told me when I was a child was that, when I got bullied and all, that we're not, we're in another country and we have to learn to assimilate and, and kind of work hard at it. And let me assure you, every immigrant and illegal immigrant I know work harder than any of you American, unless you're obsessed with something. No, that's not true. The working class people who care, work hard. I mean, there are people working hard. I mean, there are people who just love work hard and believe in, they believe in work. I mean, after all, it is the Protestant. It's the Protestant way, right? Did I waste all the years in social science? What is social science anyway? So I think the idea is kind of 4th of July and coming up in 250 years of America. A quarter of a this is a 250. Okay, that's a quarter of a millennium, right? That's a quarter of a millennium that America has existed. A quarter of millennium compared to, I don't know, other culture. And compared to America has always had, because it doesn't have it was new money, because look, people who have money stay where they are, right? It's the reject of the European that needed to find, or people looking for escape from the institution and, the oppression of the of Europe, or of all over the world, and they're looking for new opportunity. So America was about a melting pot of a lot of different culture, and the 13 colony, there was other than just the English, the British, or well, actually England at that time, but there was Amsterdam, and there's like the Dutch. I'm sorry, the Dutch is Amsterdam, but so there were because they were Puritan, they wanted they thought the Catholic Church was, after Henry VIII decided to screw the church, there was a rise. Well, actually, it was Martin Luther. Martin Luther proclamation and all, the invention of writing, the invention of the printing press, mass communication, social learning, public education. The Enlightenment era was thought and people used to, the idea of education was a privilege. Oh, no, I actually do believe education is a privilege in the sense that it takes time to learn. But I'm not saying that, I'm saying that everyone's learning is different than education. Learning is part of education, but we all learn. I mean, learning is essentially kind of go on is in life anyway, when, everyone learn over time, hopefully, but, learning is when you fit into your environment and you're able to adapt and, and do whatever's necessary, to keep your life going. That's learning. Over time, things change, your environment change, you have to learn kind of thing, or you find other to help you learn to survive. I mean, that's just basic game of life, is things change, can you adopt? Adaptation is learning. There's the idea of hardwire, that's is biological learning, which is exactly which species survive, which offspring survive in the environment, and they test different gene, and whatever came alive, more produce. So there's a pattern that can be predicted, and that's why some people I know study evolution. Louis Nairn. I wasn't smart enough, huh? No, Louis Nairn thought I wasn't smart enough to go to IMBS. I was smart enough to fix his computer, though. We had some great conversation together, Louis Nairn. I mean, I remember taking his class. I was like, wow. And he was also happened to be, I think he was a psychologist or psychiatrist, but he was, one of the things was about, he hypnotized, I volunteered to be hypnotized. And I thought I couldn't be. I thought I wouldn't be able to hypnotize, but he got me to be really confused about my environment and about my own sense of self. And then he snapped, and like, thank God, because it's like, okay, that was new. I did not, that was very weird you think you're consistent, you think you know reality, and you think you're aware of reality, and then, oh yeah. So, that was a surprise, but what one of the things was about in his communication class was about how talking about people who have schizophrenia, which is essentially or the idea is about communicating to alien. But the question is, communication requires a common understanding. You need to have kind of like a common ground, or to commute. There's commonality, right? And you need to be, both of you are actively trying to comprehend with each other what the situation is. So communication is like communing, essentially, right? You're trying to find how you essentially try to relate to each other. Where am I going with this? Actually, I'm not. I'm just gonna. I'm shooting the breeze right now, but the let's see what the mania, desire, and contentment. Okay. So the problem. Okay. The one thing I noticed that being happy was a taboo in my family. Because happiness, because my mother rarely gets happy. And she doesn't show it to her children, because happiness would be a reward, right, mother? Because she was very much into reward and punishment. Oh, you deserve your misery, bitch. You deserve your misery. I'm sorry, but you deserve your misery. I try to help. I mean, I really, what son would not try to, whatever he learns in school, in social science, wouldn't he not want to discuss it with his mother? Wouldn't he want to share? I mean, that's what she's good at. She thinks she's good at understanding everyone. She thinks she knows it all. Wait until you find out how stupid you are. No, that was one thing that she was frightened of, because she only feel comfortable with mastery, and there was something new like the computer, and even though she understand the principle of it, and she was actually very active and interested in using the computer, and she did become very successful at using the computer. I mean, she did. I know so. My mother's not a dumb bitch. No, she's very clever. No, her cleverness is what screwed her over, because she does depend heavily on her understanding of her knowledge. Your knowledge is found. There's a foundation to your knowledge. If you ever want to know the fringes of your knowledge, try testing it out. I love testing. I love testing boundaries, right, Cherokees? I love testing every form of boundaries. I have to say, the time after 90, after that email to Dave Lynon, and Cherokee could have fired me, but I would have sued their ass. I would fucking sue their ass, and get a new job at the same time too, right? Bill Fleming, fuck you. Is if you don't think I'm a single person, don't you think I have very much about my survival? And my mania, and how do I relieve it? I remember the stress of meeting. I forced myself to contact Dave Lynon, because Barbara Dozier was about to become dean, and I have owned this project to her for over a year of creating a Linux backup system for her. And I tried. But the problem was that there's issue time, resource, and also just getting to buying it and then applying it, because it was so frustrating to, and she just lost her data. Oh, to DCS, and it was from DCS fault, and she was so pissed. Fuck you, Dave Lyman. I got screwed over with that business deal, and I accepted it. I accepted that business deal for a Windows a new Mac OS X, was just coming out, and I wanted it. So I got work. I agreed to essentially, just for whatever. They owe me a couple of hours for work or something, and I just said, just get me a Mac, a new Mac, the Mac OS X notebook. It was not a PowerBook either. It was the cheaper version, and I used that. But that's how I became the OS X Linux expert for social science. But the issue, after talking to, because after I had a great time from Y2K, I actually enjoyed. We were prepared to do Y2K. We knew every issue, and I was in charge of coordinating everybody and everything. We had the whole team of both Mike Migalski lab, which was all graduate student. Someday I would like to examine the bookkeeping of all of from 1999 to 2000 of Dave Lynon's record on everything, on computing support, just for historical understanding, right? No, but what and I know some of the grad students already, because I was forced to. I asked Mike Migalski because I needed. I had classes and all, and I was full-time student and full-time working, and there was plenty of computer needing to fix after hours anyway, because I was too busy meeting people, listening to their problem, and therefore there's not enough time, because I actually enjoy taking care of these people versus just creating ticket, Julian. But Jerry needs to be a fair person, right, Jerry? Fair and equitable, fair, person. And Julian thought, when after I think the issue was Tim was leaving, and Julian felt like, there was not enough staff, and he asked me, why isn't Dao, working 8 to 5 like me, and and what about all the, so it was unfair for him to be at 8. So I'm thinking, you're kidding me, right? Consider how much work I had to do and all. So to compensate for the hours that I used to work at night and fix computer in the lab, I asked Mike Mikowski. I'm thinking, Mike, I need some spare hours. Do you want to use me as your labor force for a while? If you can, So I end up working odd hours, that I think when Quan wasn't doing or whatever in the evening, whenever there was spare hours needed, I would be sitting in the computer lab doing nothing. And I know how, but I got to learn the process of what Mike Mikowski did for a computer lab and how he used ghosting, Norton Ghost, to image everything. And because they all have a standard setup and all. And so he used this, and I thought, like, why aren't we not using this in the help desk? Oh, we don't have a standard hardware equipment. Why don't we have standard hardware equipment? Oh, we allow faculty to choose whatever they want to. So the staff too. But meaning by the time 2000 came around, I was comfortably happy with, just after Julian and Tim, Julian left and Tim left, the stress was reduced enormously. But there was an issue of how do we replace them. And and there was, I really needed, I did not need, that was what I was trying to work with Jerry Keyes. And also the fact that Barbara Dozier was becoming dean. And that, to be honest with you, Barbara, I did not want you to be dean. I respect your work. I respect you as a woman. I respect you. I know how hard you work. I know what Barbara Dozier did. No, I respect her professionally. She did a great job. No, but we needed new blood. My God, people who study social science are the most, let's just say the most, what should be the right word? What do you think people who study social science are like? They think a lot. They're territorial. We were very territorial things. No, in bureaucracy, you create territory. You do. You end up and you create faction and tribe and everything. In the bureaucracy, it's very. It takes time to become the in-group. I'm thinking about when Fitz finally got a job at Orange County welfare, whatever, human services or something, is an analyst, is a data scientist, which is exactly what he's good for. This man crunch number. This man, even when he is, drunk and we're playing cribbage, he can still count car and do math. I'm thinking, can you relax? And not, he would count and he'd get frustrated. Actually, he'd get frustrated if he lose the game too. It's random fits. But I guess the issue was that there are ups and downs when you're in a small group of people. Over the years, there's cycle. And so what I've learned, because after all, it was no different than from 1994 to 1999. That's 5 years. It's no different than my 5 years in California, and I have to learn from being depressed to having Paul in my life, and the world was beautiful. It wasn't like that between 1999 and 2000, but it was. I was finally kind of adjusting. Quan and I was friend. Bruce and I was friend. And Julian was leaving. Tim was leaving. So the only thing left was how are we going to find help? And there was so many things to do. So many things to do. And everyone, Barbara Dozier hated Jerry Keys. She doesn't even want to speak to him. No, I'm not rewriting history. This is facts. There's no romantic idea about this issue, this thing. So but you know what? By then I have already kind of have how many years of talking about anxiety and working through my mother's issue. And having Tom listening to every drama I have in life, work, school, and everything, and he would answer. He was the best boyfriend ever. For a long distance relationship, it was amazing. I love that man. That man, for 20 years, that man kept me sane. Oh my God. I'm very lucky. And the question, but also, but it's depending on what you, and I'm also, because I'm a peaceful, loving person, because that was the rule I have with my mother as a single man, that I can be gay, single, and be gay and single and man, and I can still believing peace, love, and compassion, what the Buddha would teach, kind of thing, right? I can still be those things and be gay, because she had no understanding what gay is. God damn you, bitch! Even though she had gay friend, she couldn't have gay son. That's a taboo, how a lot of Asian family have, they're wonderful, kind to stranger, beggars and everything, people, mental illness, kindness, but it can't be in the family. We need to keep that a secret. If only we all study history and appreciate history. You should watch Dan Snow, History Hit, and if you want to study, understand American culture and British culture and how they all related to other, and there's just the English speaking world, the British Empire, and how America are like, how old money and new money try to connect to each other. No, I think that the history would be, instead of just looking at 250 years of history, look at 200 and, let's count it, why don't 300 years? Let's look at 300 years of history of the beginning of the American, of how the English end up getting 13 colony. Let's look at let's look at the British Empire and what America symbolizes for the British Empire, and how the American finally, do we need the British? I mean, we have our own, culture, things to do, and why do we need them? So, as a 4th of July, I think that what we should do is look at the history of America from the British Empire. I'm going to put this in social media just for fun of this, because Donald Trump, this revisionist of American history, who is he fooling? Come on now, who are you trying to fool? We have the internet. What generation are you trying to fool here? For God's sake, what do you think? You don't think that a library and information scientists are trying to do is archiving? The issue was about digital knowledge. How do we archive digital knowledge or convert our, what we have in paper and all, and kind of convert that to digital, right? How Google was so kind to let us help you with the library and all, with your copyright issue, so we can be know-it-all. Oh, honey, I've been there before you. I'm greedier. I'm greedier. I'm more greedy than Google. I'm more greedy than Facebook when it comes to knowledge, all right? I'm more greedy than Meta or any AI. I have a lot of greed for knowledge. And I want it all, and I want it now. When I need the answer, I want it now. Oh, honey, you have no idea how spoiled I am when it comes to, I want to know something. How do I get that information? And how focused, single-minded I can be when I want it. Right, mother? Oh, no, we are, my mother and I are opposite of the same coin. She trying to preserve whatever idea that she think, is masculine, and I'm not. I'm thinking, no, mother, you have no idea what kind of, when I said I love men, I don't mean just sex, mother. I meant a lot of things that related to masculinity, and we have to understand what it means to be gay and feminine and whatever fucking bullshit. Now, gender is socially constructed. Sex is not. Male, female, but there are intersex. It's biological, but gender is social, based on your culture. So stop fucking over the whole issue. Let them be whatever. Every identity comes with it, assimilation, cultural. I mean, everything. Everything needs to you. What's the right word? Would be saying that if you ever look at the idea of childhood development and the different stages in life, and biologically as well as socially, and we understand this. We understand human compared to the silent generation who read Spock and how to raise, the silent generation. People who thought good parenting created the silent generation, or the boomer. I don't know. They're both kind of similar. When did Spock parenting and how that screw up America? That image of fathers knows best and keep in mind about dating culture. Have you seen some of those old videos? It's quite fascinating, actually. And knowing Kim Romney and other people, his generation, like Dwayne Gage. No, their life with, but these are people are not, they were lucky. We're talking about these people have lots of opportunity. So it depends on, I understand that. So yeah, when I went to college, it was like a totally new world to assimilate, and also the feeling of totally alone, depressed, anxious, everything, alone. And your mother just, no financial support whatsoever. And the grant money, I made a mistake. I got the wrong grant. So it was so annoying because I mentioned I had El Camino College PE class, and next thing I know, I got Cal Grant A versus Cal Grant B. That fucking screwed my life over. I want it all. And bureaucracy, I didn't understand bureaucracy or anything like that. But I did understand the structure of living in a, in a small, where everybody know each other, and the whole, my mother, the idea, my mother loved sharing her story, her grief, and how the people in Vietnam are suffering, and everyone in Vietnam is suffering, and how she would how my aunt how my family in Vietnam, their family would ask for money, and she would read the letter, and those letters like poetry. My God, they guilt each other. Shit, talking about gaslighting each other. You pull every string possible. I mean, I couldn't believe it. I'm thinking, no, that was the, so, she thinks she's lucky. The people think that being in America was lucky, right, mother? And what you have to, remember the nightmare you have to go through in California, mother? Remember all the stress, the financial stress of trying to find money and keep it all up. But somehow, whenever we go on vacation, she never worried about money. It was very weird. But that we didn't have that many vacation. I mean, the only time I know that she was checking out whether to move to Florida or California, and she, so that was the thing I think she was trying out, and we did check out Disneyland. It was very humid, Tampa, Florida, but that was, I think 1986. That was when we went to Florida. I love the water of Tampa, Florida, the Treasure Island or something. California, I was so disappointed. The first day when we arrived in California and we're checking out I think Manhattan Beach, and Lynn and I ran into the water thinking it'd be warm like Florida, the Gulf of Mexico. The Gulf of Mexico. It was totally. I never swam in the California Ocean ever again because no, this is not comfortable. Sorry, no, I'm not going back to the water again. Yeah, California, I don't know. I just didn't compare to the water, but so in mania, what you can do is you feel you remember things and happy, but you also, I mean, the question is sometimes what you want is you wish that mania would last, kind of thing, right? But you can't. I mean, that's exactly. I remember how I wish I could just stay drunk, buzz, and just have that buzz as long as possible. So you think if you keep drinking, you can maintain that buzz. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. But I used to have this kind of calmness and pathetic kind of thing. I used to be, because we would talk to each other, and I didn't know. I mean, I knew all very smart people. I mean, Eugene was fun. Whenever fuck you, Eugene. I remember how we met, Eugene. No, I have a wonderful, life. And yes, there are periods of depression, but I also know the joy of, appreciating the moment and living it, because you can't help the dead, and you try your best to help friends, with everything your resources can, but there's limit, because you also have work responsibility and all too. So look, it was a painful decade from 2009 onward. At the same time, I was getting along great with my family after, that trip to Australia and New Zealand. And because I didn't tell them I was trying to save money for a house, so I told them I had no money. And they said, well, we want you there because you're important to the family. I think it was because my mother wants me there. And the deal was it was great. And I remember, why didn't you not include me in the organization, organizing this trip? Because I realized they forgot logistic. They knew what they wanted. They know where they want to go, but they forgot logistic of it all. What do you think I do for a living? I had lots of hat. No, it was very fun. And I know some of the most amazing logistic people. God, Narong. Oh my God, Narong. That man represents Thai culture and Buddhist culture beautifully. Oh my God, that man. I love Narong. If you look at David Narong on, Google him. I know his real name still, but Actually, I think if he went back to Thailand, I think he probably used his Thailand name, last name. I could never quite figure out how you can figure someone from Thailand by how long their name is. But but yes, Narong, I've always been a fan of you. You deserve to be a fan. I mean, uh, the man, graceful, loving, sweet, everything, and sensitive. Oh no, this. I love Narong. Smart, intelligent. No, I love Narong. I love Will dearly. No, I knew some beautiful Asian. I finally had a clique of friends who were, after being, after Paul, trying to meet new people, and you have. I never realized how the Asian and white dating pool act, because it was like shit. Talking about, I didn't think race make a difference, because to me Asian, I mean, to me, if we connect to each other, it's great, and because I after Paul, and thank God Paul was an American Chinese kind of thing, and we relate quite well in terms of our ambition and dream, and he's certainly very Americanized and very culture and very successful, and he knew what he wanted, and he wanted a partner, and to have kind of a monogamous couple kind of thing, and we got along, and I mean, Paul was the perfect Asian boyfriend you can ever ask for. If no, really, I was, I mean, I love the attention he gave me. Oh my God, I was spoiled. I mean, I remember one time I had final, and he asked, "Why don't we go to Paris for Valentine's Day?" I'm thinking, I have final. I can't just, we can just fly to Paris for the weekend. And I'm thinking, you wanted to fly? Yes, mother. I had an amazing relationship that I ditched because of how you were upset with me during Christmas 1992, that I screwed my life over just to say fuck you, I can be on my own, instead of having this beautiful, a perfect relationship that I can keep thinking, like, when will he leave me, worry and all these things. No, then I have Dwayne Gage telling me now, you can't trust any man. You gotta be independent. No man will. You're alone. You gotta, and you gotta take care of yourself, and you gotta be, have a job, and you gotta polish your image. Learn to speak proper English. Slow down, speak, speak pronunciation. Why are you not pronouncing the endings? I'm thinking, because I don't want to. Fuck English. I have other issues to worry about. Listen to me. You can understand me, can't you? Listen to me, not trying to crack my English. I'm trying to teach you how to use a computer here. Not trying to fix me. Oh, I love Dwayne. Best intention of the white man's burden. Do you want to know what the white man's burden is? I'm sorry, you people might not know what the white man's burden is. So let me Google what the white man's burden is. What is the quote? Where and what does the quote? What does the quote, the white man burden, refer to? Roger, So the white man's burden referred to the controversial 19th century ideology that white Western colonizer had the moral obligation to civilize, educate, and Christianize non-white indigenous population in their colonies. It is widely understood as a paternalistic justification paternalistic justification for imperialism and racial superiority. The concept originates from the poem written by British writer Rudyard Kipling, 1899. Originally directed at the United States, encouraging America to annex and civilize the Philippines following the Spanish-American War. History and modern context, imperial justification in the late 19th and early 20th century, the phrase was embraced by politicians and imperialists to justify the expansion of Western empire across Africa, Asia, and the Pacific. Historical reality, why it was framed as a benevolent task, the reality of this ideology involved extreme exploitation, the extraction of resources, and erasure of the indigenous culture. Modern meaning. Today, the phrase is viewed as a historical offensive term. It is commonly used as a shorthand to criticize modern neo-colonial attitude, Western arrogance, or any situation where privileged groups impose their will on others under the guise of helping them. Excuse me. So my sister texted to check to see how I'm doing 10, so it was nice. See, we finally worked out a communication issue. We had to, or else I'll be dead or out on the street. I was desperate for attention. No, I was really. I mean, after Fitz gone in June 2009, there was just emptiness and unemployment. And I had fun. I mean, I got high and drunk, and tried to face every day anxious and depressed, and just fucking try to. I mean, really, that I was just playing along, and exactly what I'm doing now. See, I told you I was trying to deal with what the fuck am I going to do with my life now? Everything failed. My business idea failed. I got, instead of helping Fitz with mental illness, they decided to say, I have mental illness. And I'm threatening them that feel threatened, Everyone's been threatened. Shit. By a gay Vietnamese refugee American who doesn't own a weapon, who lives in Irvine, who doesn't know how to fight, who was afraid of the dark in Irvine, living in Irvine, fear of the dark. Only recently, he finally conquered the fear of the dark after hanging out with Adam and May and decided, you know what, I'm drunk. I don't want to be caught jaywalking on the street in Irvine at night, for being drunk and disorderly. So I braved myself to go the Back Bay, the San Diego Trail, thinking you can get caught, for this and would not look good for your work. So the best thing to do was just walk along the trail, the river, the San Diego Trail, to get home. And it's like, oh, that's not scary. I mean, I thought you were drunk anyway. But I enjoy the nature, thinking, oh my God, look at all this wildlife, coyote and everything too. And I wasn't upset by it either. So that's how I conquer walking in the middle of the night at 2 a.m. in the morning, from my where I was living at that time, and where May and Adam was living. That would be, my God, I don't know. I have this condo already. Oh wow, that was 20. That would be 2011, 2012. Yeah, I already have this condo. Time, my perspective on time is a little bit fuzzy. That's expected to be trauma. If I try to remember anything past, I remember when I was 18 trying to remember what my life was like in Madison, Wisconsin, and it was all a blur. And now if you ask me if I remember anything from high school, it's all a blur too. Hey, it's efficient. You don't need that memory anymore, Your emotional will trigger you and you remind these things. So it's all really, the question is, what do you need in the present moment, And the problem is a lot of time, when we don't deal with our depression and anxiety, we're going to worry. And and essentially we think that's love, and worry help us manage our anxiety. When you worry, you are projecting your anxiety, really. I know this, mother. I try to educate you on this. Why do I study social science, mother? Do you think you know social science better than I do? Do you, mother? Do you want to compete on who knows more about social science? Your academic knowledge and folk study and everything you have studied in, how long did you took your education to get your education, mother? I have over 20 years worth of education. Before I say I can't learn anymore, I'm too dumb to learn this now. I have over 20 years worth of education, mother. So you want to compete, After I apply your knowledge at UC Irvine Social Science? I had a beautiful mother. It took me forever to nurture, to forgive, to have patience. Something you could have done for me, bitch. No, back to the story of what happened after I write that letter, and they could fire me or put me down as having mental illness breakdown, which was a fact. No, I did. I had mania, and I wrote that email. I know that was exactly a fact. I was very stressed out. Instead, Dave Lynon told me, when I finally have a meeting with Dave Lynon, I was explaining my issue with, I owe this issue to Barbara Dozier. I'm having issue communicating with Jerry Keys. I'm trying to, please help me. We're short of staff. I'm overwhelmed. You know what he said to me? I don't listen to you. You need to follow Jerry Keys. I'm thinking, didn't you think I tried to communicate with him already? Fuck you. I will own your ass, Dave Lynon. I will own your retirement, bitch. You don't have white privilege. You do not have white privilege. And I'm not a white man's burden. Right, mother? I weren't, no. I'm a gift to America. Right, my grandfather? Dao is the way, bitch. Look at my name. And what entitlement I should have had. This beautiful name. I was reminded all the time I'm not living up to the standard of my name. Shame, shame, shame. Oh, I'm such an embarrassment to the family, and I have mental illness. And gay. Look at what I predicted this. This is what happened to your life now. Oh, look how your sister can save you. Now just find the Buddha. Listen to the Buddha. Listen, you just join meditation. I went on Krishnamurti retreat for a reason, bitch. I pay a fortune for it too. Yes, and it worked, mother. No, mania is fun. You know, you need mania, especially if you're depressed. God, no, that's what you live for. Why do you think the poor don't kill each other? Why don't you think the poor have suicidal thought? No, 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 we know this study quite well. The poor do not have suicidal thought. Because why? They're not as invested in their identity. They're invested in survival. Like meeting the basic needs. Basic needs for shelter, food, basic. What we call ending poverty. Something we should be able to do with the technology we have. Why do we still have starving people? Why do we have the poor? This is why this is why the idea of liberal progressiveness doesn't work. That's why Krishnamurti said, your politician is not going to help you solve this problem. It needs to be a radical change in your consciousness of how you relate. We're all human beings. And let me assure you, I am always one step close to being in poverty. I know that. I was living paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. I had no saving, especially after I buy this condo. That's not true. I had $20,000 saving, but that was my mother's money, not mine. I spent it all on this condo. I had nothing left. Oh God, if only Jerry Key just told me, he retired before I bought this condo. This condo was a nightmare in itself to buy. Fuck you. Fuck you. I confronted Dao. I separate my work career, my work life from my personal life. Jerry, I was at your wedding. Fuck you. So forgive and forget, blameless, because we're all trapped. And I know, Jerry Keys was like the, after that whole incident and he understood what happened, he listened. And Jerry Key was very good at listening. And I was very fast at talking. And I'm very good at arguing with Jerry in circle. And Jerry was very good at logic and reasoning. And we had a fun time. Fun time. Of pushing boundaries, of pushing Jerry's boundary, just trying to get him to piss off. And he knows it. My job was to get him to piss off, at me, to get angry. I had a decade's worth of just doing that. Oh God, it was fun. If you're gonna make more money than I, if you were worth 3 times the amount of my money, my paycheck was like only around $46,000 that time. Jerry was like $89,000 to almost like $90,000 a year, something like that. I'm thinking, and mine was like barely making 40, I think. And I'm thinking, what the fuck? How many hours? So I decide to trauma dump. I make sure I know all the top faculty who had all the privilege and money. And I learned what their technical needs are. Oh, it was fun. No, Dave Lyndon, I thought after a decade we all grow up, don't we? Oh no, Dow just fixed me with a computer. He doesn't know anything. Oh, and it was Jerry's brilliant idea. It takes time. He matured and he learned how to become a director without anyone pushing him. Not like you either do this. I'm sure Dave Lyman was also trying to do this too, wasn't you? Fuck you all. No, so my point is, yes, I was still in shock and it was difficult because the emptiness. You think, what the fuck am I going to do? I could sell this condo, but I'm thinking, I need a career, I was like, Canada's great. Canada's perfect. I like Canada. John Bowler is a Canadian. I love Canadian. I love Lake Cowboy, I love Canadian. I love every Canadian at all, at least the Canadian I met. The Canadian I met was all educated people and friendly and all, so I can't say. Ottawa was beautiful. I loved Ottawa. It was very nice. it was a beautiful city. I really enjoyed Ottawa. I spent a day or two in Ottawa, and it was great. And then before going to, I, John and I went 2 times to the lake where he for his where his parents and family vacation. John, John Bowler is the the best you can say about his how beautiful what a what a beautiful good Canadian, British history, English history, and all son can be, who's proud of the fact that he's an Englishman, Bowler, right? And that he's proud of his history, and he's and he has a wonderful life, and he loves his father dearly, and he loves learning, he loves education, and he loves exploring the world, and he's curious about things and all. So he's great, and he loves to play and have fun. So we had a great time, except when we try to be responsible, when we try to have daily routine and try to keep our bargain about paying the bill on time. And how much I actually worth, John. My hours are not a pizza worth. Fuck you. I made him pay afterward. I made him pay a lot. You think You think fixing your computer was only a pizza worth a pizza? Fuck you, bitch. No, this value that the idea that because we're immigrant Vietnamese refugee, we don't know what our worth, how much we're worth in money. Oh, honey. No. We are very expensive people. There are, like I said, there are several classes of people who get to be in America, being a refugee. They have to be risk taker, and they have to have money. You don't get to be on that boat, just No, these are very ambitious people with resources or desperation. You get my drift? And yes, each generation that came to America, have different needs and wants. It's, so there are people who study this about the Vietnamese culture, right, Tran? So, Mother, do you think your social science knowledge can beat mine and my social understanding of the world? Should we compete on our experience and see who is more knowledgeable of the world, politics, and everyone else and everything, and what's mean to be a holistic global thinker and not just ethnocentric? But then instead of being, what was it when you stop instead of thinking from our human, we need to, that the difficulty is how do we get to objective understanding of the universe, that we are not the center, but we are conscious. And what would mean if we meet another conscious and then have communication, what the idea of alien is. In order to communicate with that alien, you have to understand what is communication, Ask Louis Nairn. So when it comes to the idea, the idea is semiotic, right? So do you want to read semiotic? Do you want to try to understand semiotic? Or set theory? Analytical philosophy? No, I got, there's just so much time to do between keeping up with everything and still. So you get overwhelming now. You think that you're going to do this in your retirement, and then you have to deal with fucking depression and the idea of how the fuck am I going to survive the rest of my life without income? Unlike Dwayne Gage, when he retired, he had huge amount of pension, and also his parents split, money and saving. And so, but he's still worried about money. He said, now I live on fixed income. I'm thinking, are you kidding me? You've been a fixed person. Dwayne Gage was so routine. He had everything is a routine. That say now I'm having issue with dementia, but because he had everything is a routine and all, he can deal with his dementia. And as he was aging, and we talk about it, and of course he doesn't need me because he had all the money in the world. So the only thing he needed me for was IT support. And I said, and he was very generous about paying for IT. This man has always given me $100 an hour, minimum. Since the first time I built his computer, whatever, he looked at me and understand that my worth, and was very sweet and kind to me, and always very generous. And I even told him I didn't need money. He wouldn't even let me treat him. When I tried to buy him a gift, he rejected it, kind of thing. So no, I was not raped or exploited by Dwayne Gage. I wish I was. I wish he had a heart for me. So all you people who think, Dwayne was a pedophile, fuck you. No, that was very loving and respectful, and very much a teacher to student relationship, and that stayed that way. He think of himself as, I'm aging, I'm going to teach you, what it's like to grow old. I'm thinking, Dwayne, I think I want to have a different idea of growing old than you. I'm looking at academia, and I want to grow old like Kim Romney. I want to be old like Kim Romney. I want to live his life. I want to be able to reflect on, I wish social science was more science. How can we make social science, can human, and maybe he got a little bit despaired in this, but also very much wise about what he can. I love that man, what happened to him in 1994 onward. Beautiful. He was talking about someone who learned and understand and apply what he learned. He was that. I want to be like Kim when I die. I want to age like Kim Rami. He had the best resources. He had the best healthcare, everything, including Robert Schenkel to check to see about Alzheimer. And that man brain worked all the way to his death. Beautiful. How he worked, how he understand, ask for help, how he's respectful of everyone. And he essentially made kind of like a grandpa piece to the IMBS, which also have no longer existed. You see, institution change. They do adapt to trend now because they need to, because it's corporation trending. Education need to become corporate and consumer and trending. AI. How do you apply AI to academia? What is learning? Oh no, the youth can't read anymore. But what can they understand? Oh, they can't do math. Who cares? Do you? When a computer can do it better than you, who give a fuck? But computer can lie. Now, right? AI can lie, or you can fuzz data. Look. Things change and things stay the same. So this is our Tuesday, Friday meeting where we have so many different people, and I look forward to my weekend to hang out. And after a weekday, I finally find work, balanced life, all in social science, and I even extended it to people like Bob Dotson and Donna and Macklin, and Fitz. So I was quite comfortable, living my life until they all get ill, died, alcoholism, whatever fucking bullshit. I don't know anymore. No, addiction. The way that the boomer understand addiction and the way my mother understand addiction is not how modern how we understand addiction now. We have a very different understanding of addiction. So yes, I would like to be addicted to coffee, and yes, I enjoy alcohol, and yes, I enjoy marijuana, but it's not doing the same. I can't get the same high. I can't get drunk. I can't get... The coffee doesn't make me feel like, the same excited. No. So what stage are we now? We have to discuss here. Excuse me. We are now moving to the desire. So, first of all, what is desire? Do you want to hear? What do you think desire is? Do you want to hear the goddess of desire? Let's see what the Greek thinks of desire. The ancient Greeks view desire as a cosmic, often terrifying force. It was not a pleasant diversion, but an overwhelming madness that could disorient individual and unmake civilization. However, philosopher like Plato believes this longing could be channeled rationally to elevate the soul to ultimate truth and beauty. The Greek understanding of desire was primarily divided into most powerful manifestation, eros, passionate, sensual desire, named after the deity of love and fertility. Eros represented the intense romantic or sexual passion. The Greeks view it as the involuntary state of temporary insanity inflicted upon a person, causing a terrifying loss of control. Yes, it does. Tell that every teenager. Yes, it does. My God. The power of the goddess, associated closely with Aphrodite, the goddess of desire and pleasure. It was considered a force older and stronger than the Olympian gods themselves. It acted as a magnetic creative urge that threw true being together. The philosophical ascent, Plato, in the dialogue like Symposium, reimaged desire. He argued that Eros is a Alexa, stop. Eros is a longing of the good and the beautiful. Instead, it's just a physical lust. Philosopher believed it was a stepping stone using the initial pull of desire to ultimate yearn for a higher intellectual form of love and wisdom. Epithemia, craving and will. While Eros was more focused on romantic or interpersonal ardor. Interpersonal ardor. What's ardor? I love the internet. I love how the passion. Ardor, ARDOR. No, if I had this as a kid, AI, and I was trying to learn, oh my God, I would suffer so. No, you have no idea why I learned the Dewey Decimal and the Library of Congress and the Library Mother. Luck have it, baby. They represented a broader and everyday yearning for an earthly, physical appetite like food, wealth, or physical pleasure. Would you like to explore this concept compared to modern view of love? No. So desire is seen as, so let's look at how Vietnam Chinese Buddhism view on desire. in Vietnam and China, Buddhism, this is all Gemini, Google Gemini AI, by the way. I'm asking the Vietnam Chinese Buddhism view on desire. In Vietnam and China, Buddhism is historically dominated by the Mahayana tradition, which view desire, tanha or Pali, action in Chinese, is a dual-edged sword, which fundamental desire is the primary root of human suffering. Mahayana uniquely teaches that desire can be transformed and harnessed to achieve enlightenment, the ultimate cause of suffering. The Mahayana Buddhism retained the core foundation teaching of the Four Noble Truths regarding basic worldly desire. Okay, let's look at how the Zen, I like Zen better. Let's see how the Zen look at desire. The pure cultivation land, Zen, desire. In practice, Chinese and Vietnamese daily worship, desire is managed through two overlapping traditions. Pure Land devotion practitioner redirect their earthly desire into single focused longing to be reborn in the Western Pure Land Amitabha Buddha. Zen practitioner meditate on to see that desire is ultimately empty of independent existence, allowing craving to naturally dissolve without violent struggle. Go for the Zen. That's what Tao and Buddhism combined together create Zen Buddhism. Okay, so let's see what the Taoist. What does the Taoist understanding about desire? The Taoism view of desire not as an inherently sin or an evil to be crushed, but as a natural force that easily becomes distorted. The core Taoist goal is to trim away the artificial, excessive desire to return to a state of natural simplicity and harmony with the way. Natural versus artificial desire. Taoism primarily shaped by the text of Lao Tzu and Wanzi split desire into two distinct categories. Natural desire, basic biological needs such as eating when hungry, resting when tired, are completely accepted. They are part of the natural rhythm of life. Artificial desire, longing for fame, social status, excessive wealth, and luxury are seen as a dangerous cultural inventions. These artificial desires overstimulate the mind and distort the human nature. So, should we look at what Krishnamurti think about desire? Due to Krishnamurti view desire not as a moral problem to be suppressed or conquered, but a natural, highly energetic movement of the mind that must be deeply understood. He argued that the violent effort to destroy desire only create more conflict and fragmentation within the human psyche. Yes! I know that well. I tried to explain it to my mother. That was natural, mother. I can't change this. The mechanism of desire. For Krishnamurti, desire itself is a mechanical process born out of sensory perception and thought. Perception to the sensation. You see an object, a beautiful car, or a pleasant situation. This contact immediately creates a physical sensation. The invention of thought. Desire is born the exact moment thoughts step into the sensation. Thoughts creates an image of of you possessing that object, enjoying it in the future, and deprive pleasure from it. The trap of time. By projecting pleasure into tomorrow, thought transforms a simple, fleeting sensory experience into a psychological demand, creating a psychological time and psychological tracking. The conflict of suppression. Krishnamurti strongly disagree with traditional religious and spiritual systems that demand the suppression of control and sublimation of desire. Control is conflict. The entity that tries to control the desire is actually made of the exact same desire. This creates a civil war within your own mind. Deadening the mind. Suppressing desire makes the mind dull, insensitive, and rigid, rather than free. Escapism. Chasing spiritual ideas of enlightenment is just a refined form of worldly desire, driven by the exact same search for security and pleasure. Total awareness without choice. Instead of fighting desire, Krishnamurti advocates for radical, direct perception of it, choiceless awareness. He suggests looking at desire with absolute attentiveness without judging it as good or bad. The interval, if you can leave a space between the initial sensation and the intervention of thought, desire loses its psychological grip. Thank God for marijuana. Oh shit, no, yes, that's exactly. Or when you just totally relax or have sleep. The instant dissolution. When you observe the entire movement of desire, its origin, its illusion, and the inevitable pain it brings without trying to change it, that completely awareness naturally dissolves the mechanical compulsion of the craving. So, what do you think about desire now? What do you desire? We haven't solved anything, have you? You still have desire, right? So what should we do with the desire? I mean, I try to live mine. I try to live the best way, with all the risk and danger of everything, right? Let me assure you, trying to have sex in the 90s with AIDS around, oh God. And you have teenage hormone. The guilt, the fear, the fun of it all. No, like I said, it was not all pain. No, but there was a depression. I mean, like I said, I to realize that I'm alone. I can't connect to my mother. She doesn't understand my situation. She just thinks I'm poor, I'll be poor forever. She didn't realize how happy I was just trying to, I want to be in academia. I'm going to live academic career life like the way she wanted. She wanted to have an academic career, right, mother? I just want to study and be at peace. Well, I'm just going to live my academic career. Using the computer to aid me along and have my academic career. I thought it was successful. There are a lot of pain. Tell me anyone who worked in academia and go through grad school if they didn't suffer. Tell me anyone who worked in the bureaucracy of a university or tried to be a lecturer or tried to be a grad student and not feel like exploited by the university system. Education for profit. Welcome to America. Where Germany and other countries, they pay you to go to school, right? Norway or Finland or something like that. Oh, well, but we want to go back to the traditional America. America was founded on Christian value, with Christian belief. You know what Christian was trying to escape? You know why they have, why was there part of we allow all form of Christianity? Because they couldn't get along with each other. The Protestant, the Puritan, the Quaker. The Quaker and what was also were the nicest group. I mean, I would definitely like to visit. I have never been to Pennsylvania and Philadelphia. Excuse my pronunciation, but it would have been interesting to check out the history with the Quaker and how the Quaker really helped shape America. Not the Puritan. Of course, it's the working class, the Puritan. Wasp, where is thy sting? Sting, wasp. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. The work ethic. Okay, for you, those people who do not know this concept, what is WASP stand for in America literature? White America literature and sociology, WASP, stand for White Anglo-Saxon Protestant. It referred to the privileged upper class social group whose ancestors originate from northern and northwestern Europe, predominantly Britain. Historically, this demographic formed a dominant American elite in literature. The acronym carries specific cultural, behavioral, and literary connotation. Heritage and dominant represent the descendants of the earliest colonists and settlers who established the foundation of legal, political, and cultural institution of the U.S. Class and institution characterized portray as WASP are often tied to inherent wealth, prestigious Ivy League university, exclusive prep school, and private college club. Right, Jeffrey Stern? Cultural Code, a classic American novel. They are often characterized by themes of stoicism, emotional restraint, fiscal conservatism, and quiet code of conduct. Literary theme, work by author like F. Scott Fitzgerald, The Great Gatsby, and John Cheever, frequently Cheever. I never heard of John Cheever before. Wow, that's sad. I should learn this. John Cheever frequently explored the rigid lifestyle, moral hypocrisies, or delusionment of the WASP elite. What about the book WASP, Where is Thou Sting about? It didn't come out with. Okay, you're referring to the 1977 book "Was Where Is Thy Sting," written by the American humorist and columnist Florence King. The book is a satirical anthropological examination of the white Anglo-Saxon Protestant culture, manners, and neurosis in America. The clever title plays on the famous biblical verse, "O death, where is thy sting?" 1 Corinthians 15:55. King splits the book into sharp essay, character sketches, and lampoons to break down how the WASP establishment think and acts. The Siege of the Ivory Tower. It explored the anxiety of the traditional American WASP elite who historically ruled social and political hierarchy under the hierarchy, but began feeling like a minority group as America became more diverse and multicultural. Subspecies of wasp. The King famously breaks the demographic down into hilarious, hyper-specific subcategories such as plain old wasp, the southern wasp, and the high wasp, mockingly detailing the differences in their manner, obsessions, and mating habits. Cultural neurosis. The book targets their classic stereotypes, emotional repression, obsession with genealogy, and preference of old and slightly badder possession of old flashy new ones, and a passive-aggressive social code. Ultimately, it acts as a witty, biting time capsule regarding the shifting landscape of American social classes in the late 20th century. Welcome to the baby boomer versus the silent generation. Cultural trend. Who is John Cheever? I'm sorry if I'm not pronouncing this correctly here. All right. With American short story. Wow, I need to read his book now. This is how I used to, the fun part of when I get bored and can't find things, and if I can click something, but then you end up having other sociologist friends or anthropologist friends to talk to. Contentment. What should we do about the idea of contentment? Let's just look at what contentment is. What is contentment? Contentment is a state of being mentally and emotionally satisfied with your current life, possession, and circumstances. It combines gratitude for what you have with inner peace, and it is distinct from volatile and happiness in that it represents a stable, enduring sense of well-being. Key aspect to contentment: acceptance, embracing your current place in life without constantly longing for more or comparing yourself to others. Grasping the present, enjoying the current moment rather than delaying your happiness until you achieve a future goal. Action-oriented. Being content does not mean giving up on ambition or self-improvement. It simply means striving for success from a place of peace rather than a place of desperation or greed. The differences between happiness and contentment. While the two often overlap, there are fundamental differences, different concepts. Happiness is typically an intense, fleeting emotion triggered by specific positive event or reward. Contentment is a quieter, long-lasting state of mental ease and satisfaction that persists even when external circumstances fluctuate. Scientific and psychological perspective. Psychologists often view contentment as an essential component of the overall psychological health. It is heavily linked to the practice of mindfulness and gratitude. Studies suggest that individuals who cultivate contentment experience lower level stress, anxiety, and burnout. So, have we covered all the necessary? I hope you all have a good day today and find contentment today. Take care. Bye-bye.